Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Manjila Putri Nabila. My student ID is 33220045, and today I will present Project 2, Cross-Cultural Understanding. Part 1. First topic is Managing Cultural Conflict. Introduction. Managing cultural conflicts refers to the process of addressing disputes arising from differing cultural values, norms, and perceptions in intercultural settings, often through strategies like dialogue, cultural awareness, and past resolution. Effective conflict resolution requires insight into cultural backgrounds, the capacity to hear and comprehend opposing viewpoints, and the skill to promptly and productively tackle surfacing problems, according to Liu et al. Next is research dedicated to the issue of ineffective intercultural communication and adaptation to new cultural environments, highlighting pathways for developing skills and competencies for successful intercultural communication and conflict resolution, according to Singh. The author emphasized that effective communication can contribute to building better intercultural relationships, which in turn facilitates better adaptation and conflict resolution. And this is the first example. It's about multinational team misunderstanding. North American employees viewed Asian colleagues as passive in a tech firm, while Asians saw North American as aggressive. This stemmed from direct individualist versus indirect or collectivist communication norms, training on Hostitive's cultural dimension, and revised policies reduced conflict by 40%, fitting Williams' basis by building mutual cultural understanding first. Example 2. In Daimler-Chrysler merger. In 1998, German automaker Daimler-Benz merged with American Chrysler to form Daimler-Chrysler, aiming to combine European engineering precision with American market savvy. However, cultural clashes emerged. Germans value hierarchical decision-making and long-term planning, while Americans preferred egalitarian, fast-paced innovation. This led to tension, such as disagreement over cost-cutting and product development, contributing to the merger's failure in 2007, with Chrysler sold off. And these are the strategies for effective conflict resolution. There are 6. First is cultural competence training. Second, inclusive communication practices. The third is diverse leadership. Next is meditation and facilitation. Fifth, team building activities. And last, clear policies and procedures. And the second topic is gesture. Gestures are visible bodily movements, often hands or facial actions, that convey meaning alongside or instead of speech, said by cultural codes and standing out as international communicative signals. Moreover, gestures indicating indifference, inattention, misunderstanding, boredom, and disinterest should be avoided, such as the critical raising of eyebrows, biting of lips, frozen rigid facial expression, inappropriate smile or laughter, yawning, scratching head or other parts of the face and body, picking at nails, playing with hair, pen or other objects, and so on, according to Prudat. And this is the first example, the 2008 US presidential debate gesture misinterpretation. During a 2008 presidential debate, US Senator Barack Obama used a hand gesture, thumb and index finger forming a small cigar, to emphasize a point which viewers interpreted as okay or emphasis. However, in some online forums, it sparked minor controversies when viewers from other cultures, for example Brazilians, noted it could be as insulting in their context, though this was largely anecdotal and not a major incident. This illustrates how silent language and peace cultural specificity in the US. It's a natural gesture, but globally interpretation vary. Awareness of such differences prevent miscommunication in media and politics, where gestures can influence perceptions. Example 2. The 2012 London Olympic incident with South Korea archers. At the 2012 Olympics, South Korean archer Im Dong-hyun made a gesture pointing to his eye after a win, intending to significantly focus our precision. However, some viewers misinterpreted it as mocking opponents, leading to minor backlash in international media, though it was clarified as cultural expression after termination in Korean sport culture. This fits the concept by showing gesture as culturally embedded house framework, not universal, contrasting Darwin's views. In global events, such incidents underscore the need for cultural education to avoid an unintended offense, as the archers later explained it positively in interviews. This is the meaning of hand gesture around the world. Thumbs up, for example, thumbs up, index finger, the OK gesture, the V for victory or peace sign, and the Corona hand gesture. Next is part 2, a case study, a stereotype of Chinese Indonesians. In many communities, there is a common stereotype that Chinese people are naturally good at mathematics, business, and are likely to own shops or run commercial activities. However, this stereotype does not always reflect reality. In this case, Sensen, who comes from a Chinese Indonesian or Peranakan family, struggles with numbers and doesn't excel in mathematics. She also has no interest in business and doesn't plan to own a shop. Despite this, people around her often assume she should be good at counting or managing money simply because of her ethnic background. And the question is, what type of stereotype is presented in this case? This is primarily a positive stereotype, as it attributes desirable traits, intelligent in math, and entrepreneurial success to the group, potentially leading to admiration or high expectation. Reasons for classifying it as positive include it portrays the group in a favorable light. For example, good at math implies intelligence, unlike negative stereotype that demean, for example, associating groups with laziness as criminally. Next is, what are negative impacts of this stereotype on Sensen. It may cause feeling of inadequacy, frustration, or anxiety, as Sensen struggles with math and lack interest in business, leading to internalized pressure to conform to expectations. She might feel an imposter in her own ethnic identity, resulting in low self-esteem or identity conflict. Are there any positive impact of this stereotype? There are very limited positive impact, if any. While the stereotype might lead others to initially view Sensen as competent or capable in financial matters, this perceived advantage is conditional and unrealistic. When she doesn't meet this expectation, this stereotype becomes harmful rather than beneficial. What specific stereotype is highlighted in this case? The specific stereotype is that Chinese Indonesians are naturally adept at mathematics, business, and commercial activities such as owning shops or managing money, often linked to historical roles in trade and perceived cultural traits like diligence and numeracy. This influences perception of Sensen by leading others to project these traits onto her based solely on her ethnicity rather than actual abilities or interests. For instance, people might assume she's skilled at counting or business without evidence, ignoring her struggles with math or lack of entrepreneurial drive. And B. During the International Cultural Day, the native speaker Aaron Fox explained several theories of cultural. The students were required to create a summary based on the presentation given by Mr. Wilking. In the presentation delivered by Mr. Wilking, several important ideas related to cultural communication were explained. The presentation emphasized that communication problems across cultures are often not caused by language barriers, but differences in cultural meaning, values, and interpretation. One key example showed how the same words can be interpreted very differently depending on cultural background. In the case presented, direct feedback was intended as constructive improvement, but it was interpreted as criticism and anger. This misunderstanding caused silence, discomfort, and emotional reactions such as embarrassment and hurt. This reflects Aaron Fox's theory that culture strongly influences how people perceive intention, emotion, and meaning in communication. The presentation also compared British communication style and Indonesian communication style. British culture tends to view directness and debate as healthy and honest feedback, while Indonesian culture often interprets directness as criticism and prefers harmony over confrontation. This difference explains why miscommunication can easily occur in multicultural environments. As a solution, Wilking introduced Speakwise approach, which focuses on starting with strengths, suggesting improvement politely, inviting input, and checking understanding. This approach helps write cultural differences and creates more respectful and effective communication. As a solution, Mr. Wilkie introduced the Speakwise approach, which focuses on starting with strengths, suggesting improvement politely, inviting input, and checking understanding. This approach helps bridge cultural differences and creates more respectful and effective communication. And C. Case study: body language misunderstanding. Amoran, an Indonesian student, feels confused when an American friend greets him by raising a hand with a finger spread open. In Indonesia, this gesture is commonly understood as a signal to stop. However, in the United States, the same gesture is often used as a casual way to say hello or wave. This misunderstanding makes Amran unsure how to respond, and he begins to feel uncomfortable in special interaction. He worries that he might appear rude if he reacts the wrong way, or that he might misinterpret other gestures in the future. And the question is, how does this situation show that body language can lead to culture shock? Amran feels confused because in Indonesian culture, an open raised hand usually means stop, while in American culture it is a friendly greeting. This difference causes misunderstanding because Amran interprets the gesture based on his own cultural background, not the American meaning. As a result, he experiences discomfort and uncertainty, which are common signs of culture shock in cross-cultural communication. Next question: what cultural factors influence the meaning of body language in this case? In Indonesia, influenced by collectivist values and hierarchical social structures, for example, from Japanese or broader Asian traditions, gestures like this emphasize control or politeness in interactions, such as stopping traffic or signaling authority. In the US, individualistic and egalitarian norms promote expressive, informal greetings to build rapport. Moreover, urban Indonesian settings, for example, a busy street may have reinforced this job meaning for safety, whereas American suburban or social environment encourage waving as a social connector. What negative effects might this misunderstanding have on Amran's interaction with others? First, embarrassment. If he reacts incorrectly or realizes later that he misunderstood the gesture. Next, anxiety, as he becomes worried about interpreting gestures wrongly in future interactions. And the last is miscommunication, which can lead to awkward or uncomfortable social situation. And next question: what problem solving strategies can help Amran handle this situation? Politely asking for clarification, such as asking what a gesture means in a friendly way. Observing local social cues by watching how others respond to similar gesture. Learning common gesture used in American culture to reduce misunderstanding. And the last, practicing cultural awareness by understanding that gestures do not always have the same meaning across culture and being open to learning differences. And that's all for my presentation. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.